Infinity Runner from Wales Interactive is a futuristic parkour game that puts werewolves in space. With the popularity of runner games such as Subway Surfers and Temple Run on mobile, it's strange to see this game genre ported over to desktop, and even stranger to experience it in VR.
Hurry up, Wolf Boy. Hurry up, Wolf Boy.
The aim of the game is to reach the end of each level by dodging all obstacles that are thrown in your way. Your character is always moving forward, and it's up to you to jump, slide, dodge, and even repel your way around trouble. As you move forward, you will notice that your path is set on 3 distinct rails: left, middle and right. Using the ASD keys, you control the rail your character is using, and with the mouse buttons, you can jump using the right button and slide using the left button. The levels themselves are long corridors of repeating sections that, once you figure out the correct sequence of button presses, they become easy to navigate. However, you will find some sections that will require more attempts, as Infinity Runner is just as much of a memory test as it is a test of reflexes, causing some cheap deaths which will make you repeat some sections over and over until you get it perfectly memorised. Throughout the levels, you will be required to complete quick time events to kill enemy soldiers who are trying to block your path. This is very repetitive, as Infinity Runner only shows 3 different animations for beating enemies, and when you collect the werewolf power-up, this acts almost like invincibility, as you don't need to interact at all when you come across enemies, as you see them being annihilated by your claws. Wearing a Rift to play this game is extremely difficult, as camera control is almost totally out of your hands. For some reason, you can only look 45 degrees either side of you and about 100 degrees vertically, at which point the camera locks position, and looking any further will cause the world to move with your view, which is a major cause of sim sickness. Another big issue is the use of head bobbing in the game. When you are in human state, it's just about bearable, but once you transform into a werewolf, it is dramatically increased to the point where it becomes very uncomfortable and hard to see oncoming obstacles. Thankfully, you only stay in werewolf state for about 30 seconds per stage, which makes it just about tolerable. Another issue with Infinity Runner is when in Rift mode, you need to look left or right to get around corners correctly, otherwise you will run straight into the wall and lose a life. This sounds easy enough, but sometimes you will come across an unsighted turn which you will see too late, causing you to twist your direction of view extremely quickly, causing your Rift to shift position if it's not tight on your face, or even worse, cause neck strain. The problems with Infinity Runner don't end with the game mechanics, they also extend to the menus and HUD displays. All menus in Infinity Runner are unreadable in Rift mode. Taking my Rift off and looking on screen, I can see the in-game menu is being displayed for both eyes, but they look a blurry mess in the Rift as they do not converge correctly. Also, the loading screens for each of the levels are completely 2D and will cause a headache if stared at for too long.
What the hell happened here? Let's not stick around to find out.
Despite all the issues Infinity Runner has, I did start to enjoy the game after the first hour of gameplay. I got used to the head bobbing and display quirks and got down to blasting through the levels. Each level was comprised of 2 stages and each felt quite distinct from each other. Some sections even have you jumping through space or running through power conduits. The soundtrack is pretty decent, the sense of speed in some sections is pretty good, and the feeling of accomplishment after navigating a particularly difficult section is great. However, Infinity Runner did leave a sour taste in my mouth once I reached the final boss. This boss encounter is an extremely long, quick time event with over 80 keys to get right in sequence. This is difficult enough to do on a normal 2D monitor, but trying to read all the keys in the Rift is very difficult, and it's not helped by the fact that the time of each keystroke is reduced by about 40% from the default time on normal mode. Infinity Runner also has a couple of other game modes for arcade and multiplayer. Multiplayer has you running the same corridors but is more like a time attack mode, as you never see other players and can only see their finish time at the end of the level, the fastest being the winner. Infinity Runner is no Mirror's Edge, and despite all its VR flaws, I still had a lot of fun and played it through to its completion. If you suffer in any way at all from sim sickness, stay clear, as this along with cyberspace are sure bets to get your stomach turning. If you're like me and never feel the effects of motion sickness, then I would suggest you check this out, or at least put a Rift on and watch this video to see if it's for you. If the developer fixes some issues with the menus and switches off head bobbing altogether, this could be a classic game. However, as it stands now, it's a wild ride that most Rifters won't be able to stomach. If you like this review, please remember to hit the subscribe button.
I never thought you'd get this far. That was kind of bad, really. Hey, look on the bright side. You've proven me wrong.